Hi everyone and welcome to this Grand Final Eve edition of The Crochet, brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. I'm Mark Pykey.
And I'm Alana Smith, and I don't know about you, Mark, but it's pretty hard to contain the excitement as we stand on the threshold of, hopefully, a third premiership.
Yes, fingers crossed, Alana. The boys have certainly taken us on a wonderful journey this year, and a flag would be a fitting reward for a fantastic effort by everyone at the club.
Yeah, indeed it would. Now, coming up in this special show, we'll look back on some of the critical moments that helped shape the season.
Adelaide are in the grand final.
And the coach and the skipper have the last word.
Our mantra's been for 4 or 5 years, let's go and get the job done and bring back a premiership cup, because I know our fans and supporters and sponsors would be super happy if we did.
Now, I can only imagine how the boys are feeling at this time, but Mark, as a dual premiership captain, you know better than most. What are they going through?
Well, look, I guess there'd be a real mix of excitement, anticipation, but also some nerves, and hopefully they're able to stick as close to possible as their normal routine. And being in the hotel at Melbourne, that's nothing unusual. In a lot of ways, it's a little bit insular for them. They don't have to handle too much of the outside world, so I think it's a really good thing. Now,
back in 97-98, how did the different players and personalities cope with the pressure that they were under?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting one because I think it's an individual thing, and I was speaking with players after the game. Some guys said they were really nervous, they didn't sleep much, others had no problems at all. So everyone will handle it differently. Hopefully though, they don't expend too much nervous energy and they can relax as much as they can and get as close as they can to the game before those nerves really kick in.
When we look at the current crop of Crows, why do you think they can win?
I love the evenness of the group. The midfield's been outstanding. The defence are really unheralded, I think. They're such a tight group back there. But the real thing they have is the weapons up forward, the ability to kick goals and hit the scoreboard. They don't rely on one player, and we saw that last week, multiple avenues to goal, and that's going to set them apart.
Obviously a massive prize on the line, so what can the players expect if they are to be successful?
Well, it has been a little while for me, 20 years, but I tell you what, you never forget that first 3 or 4 minutes straight after the siren. It is euphoria, it is relief, it is everything all rolled into one, and it'll stay with them forever. The other part they'll really enjoy is getting back into the change rooms. They'll have their loved ones, the volunteers, the people that have helped them get to where they're and do what they've been able to do. And then, of course, as the week unfolds, they'll be able to say thank you to the fans, and I'm sure they'll turn out in massive numbers if they were to win.
Well, thanks very much for that, Mark. Great to get your insights. Now, we know you won your premierships under Malcolm Blight. By all accounts, a very different coach to Don Pike.
Well, he certainly was different, but in a very good way.
Of course, Pykey enjoyed premiership success as an Eagles player, and he brings those experiences to the team. So let's find out what he said to the boys after that memorable preliminary final win.
Some efforts which will see during the week, which to me is the difference between being a good team and a great team. All right? Now, there's one thing to get there, there's another thing to win it. We'll embrace the week, enjoy the week, right? But ultimately, come next Saturday afternoon, it's a game of footy we want to win. Because ultimately that's what it's about. We're right there, okay? Right there. Almost touch it. Right, there were some great efforts. I'm not going to go through individuals, but there were some great efforts which you would know. And as I said, that just builds more and more trust. Trust in your teammates, trust in how we play, trust in the system, which ultimately is what we will need next week, because teams win finals. Teams. And teams is everyone in this room. Okay, it's not just the 22 runner, it's the team. So the guys who are maybe not going to play next week, you have an important role for us as well, believe me. And we'll take the step together, boys, as we have all year. So well done. Super proud of you. Super proud of you. But understand, we've just moved one closer to what we're really after.
There's no doubt the whole group has formed an extraordinary bond. When we return, the challenges of crossing over, basketballers who have turned to football.
It takes time for them to come in and understand what it's all about.
And after 17 years chasing a premiership, you have to feel for Scott Thompson.
Welcome back to The Crow Show. The AFL is embracing a growing number of basketballers who've switched codes. At Collingwood, there's Scott Pendlebury. Melbourne has Christian Petrarca. And at Adelaide, there's Josh Jenkins and Hugh Greenwood, whose grand final story is the stuff of dreams. We talk to them about why basketballers make good footballers.
In just 2 years, Hugh Greenwood has made the remarkable transition from the basketball court to an MCG Grand Final. A testament not only to his outstanding ability, but to the special skills of many basketballers.
It seems as though we've got a lot of space and time. There's guys across the league that do it, Pendlebury, even Hendo for a while, and JJ as well. For whatever reason, they seem like they've got more time and they sort of can predict what's going to happen next, even before they've got the ball.
Greenwood says all basketballers have a heightened sense of spatial awareness.
With basketball being such close-knit that they're used to, being in congested and confined spaces, and so the ability to make decisions under pressure and in tight spaces, I think, is probably the biggest one.
For Josh Jenkins, it's all about alertness and sharp reflexes.
You have to work in a confined space and make bounce passes and things like that, and defend as well, so it does translate fairly well.
But Jenkins admits making the crossover isn't easy.
Often you try and defend with your hands instead of getting at people, getting at the opposition and trying to tackle and put pressure on, so there's a little difference there.
However, the biggest adjustment has nothing to do with skills or ability.
Now there's so many structures and zones and things that you've got to be across, and it takes time, and it is a different game at AFL level from even what you see on a Saturday afternoon in the SANFL. It's a completely different game, and it takes a while for anyone from any sport, or even kids that have played footy their whole life. It takes time for them to come in and understand what it's all about.
Now, after a 7-year football journey, Jenkins faces the ultimate test.
Loved my time playing basketball and got to experience some great things, but you don't get to play basketball in front of 100,000 fans at the MCG for a premiership cup, so it's been a whirlwind and I've come full circle, but it's been exciting.
Hugh Greenwood hopes he can add to the 3 premierships his grandfather won at the G with Melbourne.
MCG Grand Final, I've never actually been as a spectator, so I don't really know what to expect. Pop played in 4 of them, so he's been in that environment before, but yeah, I'm very excited, that's for sure.
The player hot seat has certainly given us some laughs this year, so in 60 seconds, let's have some grand final fun.
Here we are, the grand final edition of the hot seat. Save the best for last. No, it's not me as your host, but it's a great man, Eddie Betts. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Doug.
Got some hard-hitting questions for you. You ready?
That's all right.
All right, we'll start off with the hardest. Where were you born?
Port Lincoln.
Okay, and what club did you support as a kid?
The Adelaide Crows.
Now, your favourite player?
Growing up would have been Andrew McLeod, watching the Crows play.
Who now is the funniest at the footy club?
Dos is pretty funny, but I'm going to have to say yourself, Doug.
Thank you. But who thinks they are the funniest?
Probably Dos.
What's your dream job after footy? Have you got anything in mind? Or are you just going to play forever? You probably could now that you're 50. You can still go around.
I'm 30, Doug. You're 30 as well. We're both 30.
Oh, gee, you look 40.
Dream job. No, to be honest, hopefully I'll retire. Stay at home, be a dad.
Yeah.
Stay at home dad.
Why not? Now this week, if it just happens to be tight and the siren goes, we need one bloke to kick a goal after the siren. Who would you want it to be?
Eddie Betts.
Eddie Bett. There you go. Bring it on. Let's hope it's within 30. Last one, mate. If you could be anyone else in the world, who would it be?
LeBron James.
LeBron James?
LeBron James.
There you go.
LeBron James, my boy.
There it is, the hot seat with the great man. Got a massive game on Saturday Arvo. He's going to be a big part of it, so let's look forward to it.
Yeah, it's a little thing. I think it's 13 years since me and Doug's been back on the MCG, isn't it?
It is, mate. Back since under-18s, Calder Cannons.
We played our grand final together. We won that one.
And we'll win this
13 years ago, and we'll get this one.
All right, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Good work.
Now, it's hard to imagine a grand finalist in recent history which has captured more support and more hype than Richmond. The Tigers last won the flag 37 years ago, but the huge army of fans has stuck with them through some very lean times. This year, they've ridden a wave of success that's taken them to their first grand final since 1982.
They've made a statement, the Adelaide Crows. They're not just top of the AFL ladder, they're top by a mile. They're the only undefeated team in the comp.
Yeah, me, I've been waiting for round 6 to get this opportunity to come back and play them again. You know, it's funny, you generally learn more from your losses, and we learned a significant amount that night about how we played and how well they played.
Adelaide's already got 80 points, and Sloan bangs it through. Gee, they've messed this up. Unbelievable.
We go in as underdogs. That's the harsh reality of it. They're a fantastic side. They put everyone to the sword. But we give ourselves a chance if we play our best. Capable of beating anyone.
The Tigers are in the grand final! Can you believe it?
Our bench could barely hear us speaking down that line. It was phenomenal. From the Channel 7 interview on the boundary line, and so I was talking to Lingy, the yellow and black came out, and you could actually feel the force coming on you. It was an incredible vibe, incredible feeling. You know, fans did a terrific job of helping us get across the line, there's no doubt. Whenever I feel nervous, I look at my team board and I start to smile. I look at those blokes and their influence they can have, and it makes me feel at ease straight away.
I definitely always had the belief, and I think this year it's just all clicked into place nicely with a bit of connection, a bit of love and care for each other, a bit of vulnerability and things like that. But that was probably just that final thing where on paper then translated out onto the grass. Obviously they are the best offensive team in the comp. I think if we can bring our defensive intent, which we did on the weekend, it'll definitely make the game interesting. I'm sure there's plenty of different things to play out throughout the game, winning your contests and things like that, but if we can bring our defensive intent, it'll put us in pretty good stead.
Well, the Crows won their only game against Richmond this year, back in round 6 by a whopping 80 points. Do stay with us. Still to come, Mark Bickley recalls those critical moments in the Crows season. Well, as the season unfolded over 23 weeks, there were games which proved decisive in creating the momentum, the belief and the strength to carry the team to the ultimate prize. Mark, you've seen every game this year. What have been some of the defining moments, those crucial matches that have been so important to the club's success?
Well, I think it started right at the very beginning in round 1. GWS came into this season as red-hot favourites to win the flag, and really Adelaide blew them out of the water with a 10-goal performance, and against a hugely rated midfield of GWS, Adelaide showed they were going to be a serious player.
It certainly was a great start to the season. We came to round 6 against the Tigers.
Yeah, that was a great build-up for that match. Both sides undefeated, and once again, some star players, Dustin Martin and the like, came to town, but they were no match for Adelaide. Pretty much the last 3 quarters, Adelaide dominated the game, and they walked away from that as the only undefeated side in the comp.
A huge mental leap, I think, for the group came in round 18 against the Cats.
Led by Rory Sloan as well. Was under huge doubt all week after coming off a big knock against Melbourne in Darwin. Took his spot in the side, was best on ground, and really the aggression that he and the team showed just proved to themselves that they are good enough to compete with the best.
And when we talk about emphatic victories, no better than the showdown.
Yeah, look, that was a game where generally they're always close, and I think Adelaide that night, 40 shots on goal, Betts, Jenkins, Walker all performed, and it was a real sign that that scoring power they have is a massive weapon. That was as they headed into the finals.
And what about that prelim performance?
Well, I've never seen anything like it. In terms of pressure, the way they got out of the blocks, the start they had, and then when every time Geelong looked like getting back into it, the pressure around the footy just created turnovers, and 18 goals from turnovers for Adelaide was just an unbelievable performance.
Thanks very much for that, Mark. I think I'd also have to add the round 19 clash against Collingwood at the G to the list. Incredible mental resolve that the boys showed to come from 50 points down in the third quarter. McGovern's mark and post siren goal, just incredible stuff. Well, as the boys run out onto the MCG, one man who'd love to be there is Scott Thompson. After 17 years at the top level and 3 preliminary final losses, he misses out on the grand final in his last season. So, how's he feeling and where to from here?
To be honest, I couldn't put into words the emotional feeling I've probably got at the moment. For 17 years, this is all I've wanted, to play in an AFL Grand Final and win one. And we're here now, and unfortunately for me, I find myself in the position where I'm not going to be selected. And it's a bitter pill to swallow. Obviously I want the boys to win and play well and enjoy themselves, and I'll be happy for the group, no doubt about that. But yeah, it's certainly tough, mate, but life goes on. This is all I've wanted. This is the reason I've played footy, wanted to play at this level for so long, and it's, you know, basically right under my chin at the moment. I'm really looking forward to the next phase of life now and where that journey takes me, and then coaching at this point in time I've got a real keen interest in. So what that looks like right now, I haven't locked anything in, but I'm really excited about the future. It's a lot of time's taken up being a footballer, and since they've been born, you know, Ava's 10 and Harry's 7, just turned 7 now, so yeah, I mean, I get large quality chunks of time with them now as a player, but they love coming down the footy club.
You're gonna walk
Just to walk that lap on Friday night, you know, against Geelong at half time was fantastic for the kids to experience that. They had an absolute blast, and also to thank all the supporters and members that have played a part in my journey and supported me in my 13 years with the Adelaide Footy Club. So, you know, a huge thank you to them.
Tomo, what a great player for the club. Okay, when we return, we'll take a look at some social media highlights and get the final word from Don Pike and Taylor Walker.
Well, there's no doubt the Crows' final success has generated enormous interest on the club's social media sites, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So many highlights to choose from. Firstly, how loud was Adelaide Oval last Friday night? AFC Media captured the dying moment from a fan's point of view. And it's great to see all of South Australia getting behind the Crows this week, even sporting the tricolours under school uniforms. All year we've asked the fans for their views on a range of issues, but of course this time we've gone to Don Pike and Taylor Walker for their final thoughts as they go for glory.
A lot of hard work's gone into where we are now, and our mantra's been for 4 or 5 years, let's go and get the job done and bring back a premiership cup, because I know our fans and supporters and sponsors would be super happy if we did, and just put a big smile on South Australians' faces.
It's a great reason why we're part of footy clubs, is to play in these sorts of games, and you know, the excitement the players will feel, hopefully our members, supporters, our fans will get to feel that. Enjoy the day, don't be too anxious or worried about the outcome. That'll be left to the players and myself to try and get that organised, but they're wonderful days to be part of. Be proud of your players, be proud of your club, and hopefully get the right result.
Thanks guys, and on behalf of all the Crows members and supporters, and I'm sure most of South Australia, we wish you and all the players and coaches the very best of luck.
Yes, you've given us so much joy and excitement this year, and now premiership glory is just one win away.
And they can join the Crows women's team as AFL champions.
Yeah, all in the same year. What a wonderful achievement that would be.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us for this very special Grand Final Eve edition of The Crows Show, brought to you by Chemist Warehouse.
Don't forget to visit the club's website, afc.com.au, and our social media platforms for all the latest Grand Final news.
So now, for one last time, Alana,
go the Crows!